Hello there. My name is Klaus Hostel, and I'm doing 100 innovation keynotes in 100 days. Today is number 47, and today I'm going to be talking about designing for the first time, designing for the 5th time, designing for the 20th time. And here behind me, here is Saga, our daughter. You can see playing by the water. We're right now at Balka Beach, about 5 minutes drive from where we live. It's a very nice kind of summer vacation area. And if I turn around a little bit, you'll be able to spot there's a little bit of beach behind me. And if we take up the camera, you might even be able to spot the water. There's water that way, the Baltic Sea. Now, the reason that I'm talking about the first time, the 5th time, the 20th time, etc., is because of something interesting that I stumbled upon in a documentary about the Disney Imagineers. And it's a wonderful documentary about Disney Imagineering. It's on Disney Plus if you want to see it yourself. 6-part series, very, very recommended by me. One of the Imagineers at one point says, "I don't design for the first time somebody's on the ride. I design for the 20th time they're on the ride." And that stuck with me because it's often when we design experiences, when we create products, when we think of services, we get caught up in designing for the first time, for when our customers meet us the first time, for when they first time kind of peruse our product, when they gaze upon the Eiffel Tower, or when they see the pyramids, or they visit Yellowstone Forest, if we're talking tourism examples. The first time they take a sip of an ice-cold Pepsi Max, a soft drink that I happen to enjoy. But there's also something to be said about designing for the 2nd time, for the 3rd time, for the 5th time, for the 20th time. Whether it's returning to a familiar experience, that's very much a thing. As somebody who's gone to, for example, the Roskilde Music Festival many, many times, there's something about returning to something familiar. Whether it's seeing new details, new things that you didn't notice before, but now you notice them. Well, that's also a thing. Meow Wolf, who are currently bursting onto the world scene big time in true force with their Las Vegas art experience called Omega Mart, are some incredible pioneers in the experience design space. And one of the things that they design from, one of their kind of a creative people told me a couple of years back at a conference, said that we design for what we call maximalism, so that no matter how long time you spend at a Meow Wolf experience, that time it was their House of Eternal Return, then you're still something to come back for. There's still a reason to go back because you simply cannot get it all in. There's so much to take in. There's always another layer. There's always another way of looking at it. There's another kind of another angle. So there's a reason to come back, where there are plenty of experiences out there. Once you've seen it, once you've done it, once you've had it once, you don't really need to do it again. It might be different because you're doing it with different people. That's, of course, also always a variable. But the experience in itself is like, okay, once you've done it, you've done it. Once you've had it, you've had it. And that's fair. But what does all this have to do with innovation? Well, it does have to do that, first of all, it's good to be aware, are you doing one-offs? Are you doing a thing that once you've done it once, then it's enough? Once that service has performed once, then you don't need it again? Are you doing something that is a subscription-based thing where you need to constantly delight, or at least deliver steadily and shall we say, with stability? Or is it something where every time you do it, whatever it is, you try it, you use it, then there's something new to discover? One of the lovely things about a place like this, and I'm going to see if we can get Saga in picture again. There's Saga. Is that for her, there's always a new way to experience just a simple thing like nature. Just a thing like going out to this place near the beach. Well, I know it's not summer, but it is still a beach. That's enough in itself. We can come back and she'll be excited to go to the same place again and again, because the place has so many small hidden treasures, so many experiences that one can grab hold of, especially if one is 2 to 3 years old. Where there are other places where it's like, okay, we've been there. We don't need to go back. And since moving to the island of Bornholm in the Baltic Sea here in September, we've done a little bit of exploration. Not a lot because of Corona and because of winter and that sort of thing. Really looking forward to the spring. But we have done some exploring of the island and seen some of its sights, and some of them we said, oh, that was brilliant. That was nice. We don't need to come back. We've already kind of savored that experience, and while we could come back and probably have a good time, there are other things we'd rather do instead. There are other places where we're going to come back. We're going to do that again. This place, the Balka Beach, because it's so close to the house, the reason we're here today is because we were going to go shopping. And I said, why don't we just drop by the beach first? I'm like, okay, it's going to be a longer trip, but the drive isn't that much longer. And if Saga is not really up for it, we can always just cut it short and continue on the shopping trip. And the reason that that's an option at all is because it's an interesting place to be. It's a good experience, even the second time, even the fifth time, and probably even the 20th time. And I foresee that we will come here many times, if we live here on Bornholm for a long while at least, where there are other places where we're only going to come once. So my question to you out there is, when you're thinking of what you do, are you in the one-off business? Are you in the two-off business? Are you in the designing for the 5th or the 20th time? And sometimes what you want is exactly the same. When I pick up that Pepsi Max, I want it to taste exactly like the last Pepsi Max, and the last Pepsi Max, and the last Pepsi Max. I don't want it to be like, oh, suddenly it's citrus flavored. I don't want that. I want stability in my experience there, in my product. But other times I want something new. And it's pretty good to know, what are you delivering? What is it that delights your customers? Is it the stability? Is it the something new? Are you doing something where once it's done once, they don't need to come back, but that can still be fine because there are plenty new people who can go. My past is in designing live action role play experiences. And some of them that we designed, they were like, if you'd done it once, you could do it again with new people, but you'd kind of had the experience. Others had a built-in lifetime, so to speak, of 2 or 3 times that you could come, and then you could come back with a different perspective. Maybe you played a noble once in Edwardian England, then you played a servant the other time. And some of them are College of Wizardry, Harry Potter-inspired event, which is still going on under new leadership, and I'm no longer involved with it. One of the advantages to that is that even for somebody who wasn't a fan, there were 6 built-in different experiences, 6 ways of kind of being part of that adventure. So somebody who liked it just a little bit had at least 5 different ways of coming back to it. And that, of course, helped to its longevity, where the one where you could come back and have 2 different experiences was not the same. It didn't have the same built-in stamina. So whatever you're doing, whether you're in products, you're in services, you're in experiences, you're doing small stuff, you're doing big stuff, you're in B2C, you're in B2B, you're doing digital, physical, I want you to think about, are you designing for one-time things? Are you designing for 20-time things? Are you designing for from now on? And what can you do to improve? Or could you even change? Could you change your one-off into something that's a returning thing? Or could you take your returning thing and create a one-off experience or a one-off product out of it? It's definitely a place where there's room for innovation. And now, I'm going to go up and I'm going to leave you guys and I'm going to walk on the beach and actually pay attention to my daughter, who's right here. And what Sue was saying in Danish is that she's been taking care of Saga while I've been filming this because I'm a terrible dad. She didn't say that. She didn't say that. I said that. And she just wanted you all to know we're not alone. She's not alone at the beach. I'm not watching our kid. We are 2 adults here. Saga, can you say hi? And with that, and a glimpse of the beach, thank you for listening.